Hello everyone, Board Tony Lanteno here, the internet busiest movie nerd. And today, we are searching for the worst movie of 2023. Last week we released our new podcast episode about the best movie of the year, and I said,
my worst movie of the year, Peter Pan and Wendy. It's directed by David Lowery. It's the director of The Green Knight, and it sucked ass. It was so bad.
But all year, I never tried to watch a bad movie. So I sat down and started watching every movie released in 2023 for hours and hours without sleeping. I watched every film that I could put my hands on. But then I realized I could just go on Letterboxd, filter down for the lowest average rated movie, and I could simply watch the lowest three. Are they worse than Peter Pan and Wendy? Let's find out. So by far this year, the lowest rated movie on Letterboxd, and also it seemed like there's a consensus online that the worst movie of 2023 is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And right away, the acting is terrible. You have this guy that played Christopher, probably the worst actor of the bunch. And he's basically going to a forest where he used to play with Winnie the Pooh and all the other characters when he was young. And because he left, they went crazy and start eating each other. And now they just killing people. That's kind of like the premise of this film. So Christopher brings his fiance, who kind of look like Frankie Weenie. She gets murdered within a few minutes. And then we basically just move on and we meet our actual main character, who's this girl talking to a therapist. This girl basically has a stalker. Our therapist is like, okay, you know what? Like, book a vacation somewhere. And she literally goes to a cottage in the middle of those woods where Winnie the Pooh have been murdering people for weeks. And we see newspapers and news broadcasts. Bodies are found, mutilated. They don't know what did it. And it happens. They keep finding bodies. Right away, the level of nonsense that you have to deal with is very high. Even though it is dumb, even though the acting is terrible, even though it's not a great film, it feels like they were trying to make a good film. It's actually well shot. The color grading is nice. There's a bunch of things that make no sense. For some reason, Winnie the Pooh cries honey. I think it's probably the worst film that got the most attention, and that's why it's the easy pick. So Winnie the Pooh is probably a 1.5 out of 5. So let's check the next lowest rated film on Letterboxd. Let's see if it's worse or better. So the next film, it's Black Demon. This is basically a shark movie. If you've seen any shark movies in your life, you've seen this film. They right away want to make sure that you understand that the characters are in South America. You have two characters, Mexican guy on a boat. His name is Nacho. I just wish I could be in that room where there's two guys writing a film. Okay, we have a Mexican character. We need to find him a name. Let's call him Nacho. Perfect. We also have a Pepe in there who also own a Chihuahua. Do you get it? Everybody is on the same page here. And basically we have this guy going with his family into this small town, and he works for like an oil company, and he needs to inspect a rig. And he arrived to this town. There's just people looking at them, looking at the car, and just a kid playing in the dirt. There's a god here, and this god created a black demon, a big shark. Oil is bad. Make sure you remember that. Nobody want to get close to the rig because the shark is just attacking everything close to this rig, apparently. Basically, the whole family end up in there for some reason. And then it's just bad action, bad acting. The most B movie you ever seen. Painfully boring at time. What is this movie trying to do? The one thing this movie has for itself is that it starts to fall into the so bad it's good categories. And then at the end, when everything comes together and you realize that the main character was actually a bad guy, he kind of like let this oil rig just goes to shit, and then he has like a big speech about how planet needs to be saved and the environment, we need to be better. Yes, it's quite bad. I don't know which one I like more. I think I would rewatch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey before I want to rewatch The Black Demon. I would give The Black Demon a 1 out of 5. And the last film that we're gonna watch after everything. I didn't know before I start watching this, but this is actually the 5th film in the series. And whoever is working on this series of film is hustling. 2019, they released the movie After. In 2020, After We Collide. In 2021, After We Fell. In 2022, After Ever Happy. And now in 2023, After Everything. I'll give them some points for the fact that they release a single film every year for 5 years in a row, but also I removed that point immediately for the lack of creativity with the freaking title. Our main character, his name is Hardin. He looks like he's maybe 17 years old. We're supposed to believe he's this very famous writer. That's not a good start. But also, his first book was all about his story with his girlfriend. And his girlfriend had no idea. He didn't tell her anything. She learned this reading the book once it was already released, which is just like all kind of wrong. So obviously she leave him. So now he's sad. The world mean nothing without Tessa. He's also obviously quite distressed. So you're gonna see this guy drink whiskey every single chance this movie can. So he goes to Lisbon to meet one of his ex-girlfriend. This is a girl that he met, and he basically had a bet with his friend. If he could sleep with her, he would like get a watch or something. But also his friend is like, I'm gonna need some proof of that. He obviously sent that video, and then his friend leak it on the internet. They basically destroyed this girl's life. So he goes back to Lisbon to see this girl again. She tell her that he shouldn't be there. So he leaves. Then she texts him, and she meet him in a restaurant, and then they have dinner together. And then the next day, they go to the beach together. And then the next day, they go on a boat ride together. What are we doing here? If you didn't get that he was struggling with things because of all the whiskeys, he's also boxing. And then you see him, boxing in his house with the music. It cuts him screaming at the window. Ah! It doesn't get better than this. And then obviously at the end, he goes to a wedding of some kind. And the first girl he screwed over is there. He just proposed to her on the spot. And she said yes. At that point, I'm like, okay, are we really supposed to believe that within 2 weeks, this guy solved all his problems? At least this film is over now. But no, this is not enough. We need to really tie the bow here. We move like 5 years in the future and we see him being old. He still looked like 17 years old. He's wearing a scarf with like a long coat. So you're like, okay, he's old now. And it's Christmas. He has a kid now. And she's pregnant again. That's really what you call like a great character arc. You want to make sure everyone understands that this is the type of behavior that gets you to a good place in life. I would give it a 1 star. I would never want to rewatch Peter Pan and Wendy. It's a stain on the filmography of this director for me. All those directors, I don't even know their name. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is probably better than Peter Pan. Black Demon and After Everything are definitely worse film. So I'm gonna name the worst movie of 2023, After Everything, the 5th film of the series. Maybe one day I'll watch them all and do a review. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing me suffering. Also check out the podcast Burn After Watching. Our podcast come every 2 weeks. We just did our top 5 movie of 2023 and we'll see you next time.